Previously on Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. Cold. So cold. Hey Mion, I guess this is what death feels like. Satoko, Shion, Rika-chan, Reina. Rika-chan, I'm heading for you now. Sorry I'm late. Wait patiently for Reina, okay? I'll save you too, Rika-chan. I'll set you free from Oyashiro-sama right away. The hatchet Keiji-kun brought here was lying under the tarp in the cart. I wrapped the hatchet in the tarp, then sat it in the basket of my bike. After hiding the hatchet in the tarp, I couldn't help but chuckle.
ナタなんて大げさな武器。ケイイチ君には不似合いだよ。
I pedaled my bike while fighting the urge to laugh.
同じことなのです。ここでレナが僕を殺しても殺さなくても結果は同じことなのです。
あれがお社様のお怒りでなくて何だというのか。境内の賽銭箱の前で死んでおった。
I can see the mountain dogs have got to her.
腹を盾に裂かれておったんじゃよ。あれはたたりなんじゃ。
Rika-chan was dead and her stomach was sliced open? It can't be true. Because Rika-chan should still be locked in a ritual storehouse.
あれはお社様のたたりなんじゃよ。
お社様の
お社様のお社様の
This was all decided from the start. Reina, this is destiny. The words Rika-chan and Keiji-kun used earlier came back to me.
そっか。そうだよね。悪あがきなんて無意味だよね。レナ、もう疲れちゃった。ちょっとだけ目を閉じてもいいかな。
Nobody was there, but I insisted on talking anyway. I was suddenly overcome with the urge to cry. But why? My heart was racing and my chest tightened. It hurt. I wanted to go back. I wanted things to go back to the way they were. I wanted to go back to those days when we had fun club activities every day. I wanted to go back to see Mi-chan and Keiji-kun.
竜宮レイナはこの辺りに潜んでいるはずです。
総力上げて探せ。草の根分けても絶対に探し出せ。
Huh? Whose voice is that? Rika-chan? Satoko-chan? Mi-chan? Shi-chan? Keiji-kun? Then I woke up. The officer was coughing up blood as he squeezed out a few more words.
猛毒ガスが鬼が淵沼村全員死んだ。Hinamizawa終わり。お社たり。
After that, I could only hear the whistling sound of his breath.
ちょっと、どういうことなの？毒ガスって？撃たれたことすらすぐにはわからなかった。でも意識が急に重ったるくなって、それから吸い込まれるように眠気が襲ってきて、覚悟していた痛みよりも焼けるような熱さが全身を駆け巡っていった。あの子たちは見つからずに逃れることができただろうか。 この流れのたどり着く先はどこだろうか。忘れた。お願い。あいつら以外の人なら誰でもいい。あの子たちを見つけ出して、そして受け取ってください。こんな悲しい運命が私で終わりますように。どうかこれに気づいたあなた、真相を解き明かしてください。これはたたりなんかじゃない。それだけが私の願いです。
看護師さん、お願い。さっきまだ遠くに行っていないはずだから。どうしたのです、園崎さん。それにあなた、記憶が。わかったんだ。レナの伝えたかったことが、Hinamizawaで大災害なんて起きなかったんだよ。だからお願い、早く呼び戻して。わかりました。ちょっと待っていてくださいね。レナ、あんた、命をかけて伝えてくれたんだね。受け取ったから。私、確かにあんたのメッセージ、受け取ったから。
Mion held that hat in the plastic bag to her chest and tightly embraced it. And then, knowing the filthy stain on the hat was a blood stain, she began spilling tears long thought lost to her. Then, the next morning, at 5:17 a.m., Mion Sonozaki was pronounced dead as a result of acute heart failure. God damn it! And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. So, I'm still feeling a little bummed out after how Suki Otoshi ended, so I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to have another round for at least a few episodes of club hijinks, general silliness, and Keiichi suffering physical bodily trauma of the non-lethal variety. So, hopefully we will get that with the next art we're starting. The arc we're starting. I'm getting tongue-twisted already. Not a good sign. Let's start anyway. Someutsushi?
Sushi?
Who are you, and why should I care?
This chapter can be read after completing Chapter 3, Tatagoroshi. Natsumi Kimiyoshi moved away from Okinomiya 1 year ago, and is seeking a happy life in Kakuichi City. But her ties to Hinamizawa inescapably follow her. I'm not familiar with this name. Must be a newcomer.
新しい土地で穏やかな日々を送っていた一人の少女。しかし、切り離したはずの過去が突然影を落とし、進む先さえも闇の中へと包み込んでゆく。不安が後ろめたさとなり、頼りのなさが疑いとなって、すべてが優しさに包まれていた日常が、ある日を境に、脆くも、そして儚くも崩れ去った。染め写し。ただ当たり前の幸せが欲しかった。なのに少女には、それすらも持つ資格がなかった。
Someone once said it's like the air. You cannot see it, but of course it's always there. Someone once said it's like the water. It's neither sweet nor bitter because it has no taste. So of course they perceive every day as uninteresting. That's why everyone is unaware of their own happiness. Hello, Frederica. Beyond the darkness, a large number of red lights could be seen flashing intermittently.
ほんと真っ暗ね。
It was a forest road deep in the mountains, far from civilization. Of course, there weren't any street lights, just the headlights of the car slowly revealing the ground from the darkness. The road was paved, but it was still difficult to manage the timing of acceleration and deceleration on a winding mountain road. Because of that, a slight loss of focus was all it took for the white guardrails to appear right before Tomie's eyes, sending a shiver down her spine countless times along the way.
時間はちょい遅れか。意外にかかっちゃったな。
Tomie glanced at the clock on the dashboard, lightly drumming her fingers on the steering wheel. If anything, the fact that she arrived only 10 minutes behind schedule without any help should be proof of her driving skills and an outstanding sense of direction. But it was clear everyone would make fun of her if she claimed anything like that, so she just attributed it to good luck. In the clearing at the end of the forest road, 2 fire trucks and 2 police vehicles from the mobile investigation team were already parked, with their red warning lights flashing. While admiring their fast arrival, the recently promoted detective Tomie Minai opened the driver's side door, drew the white gloves from her inner pocket, and skillfully slipped them on both hands. As soon as the outside air struck her, Tomie faintly smelled the irritating odor of burning trees. It was hot and humid, despite being close to midnight. She was surrounded by trees and foliage, yet nothing felt fresh.
あ、未来警部、お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様です。現場は？
あちらです。速水さんたちが先に到着しましたので、検証に立ち会っています。
We're in the forest. It's late at night. I'm going to assume that they're investigating a scene of some kind, so I'm assuming the fake corpse within the flaming barrel, because she also mentioned the smell of burning wood, right?
わかりました。
Yeah.
と。
Tomie took a step, then looked back. The subordinate who had been writing with her finally emerged from the passenger seat, still sleepily rubbing his eyes.
ほら、行くよ、藤田くん。いつまで寝てるの？シャキッとしなさい。
けど、見ないさ。
You look like a discount what's-his-name. Yes, I'm forgetting his name right now. Shut up.
自分は張り込みで昨日から一睡もしてなくて、ちょうど寝るところを叩き起こされてきたんですから。
だからって上司に運転させて助手席でグースかとはいい度胸よね。
Plus, Tomie muttered to herself, glaring at her constantly yawning subordinate. I was up all night too.
そりゃ確かに申し訳ありませんでしたけど。にしても、南井さん、眠くないんですか？
昨日持ちようよ。
I'm sleepy too, but you don't hear me bitching about it.
ボケた頭で刑事が務まるかっての。それに、明日は年休なんだし、戻れば嫌っていうほど寝れるじゃない。は
あ、タフというかなんていうか、俺には真似できませんよ。とても同い年とは思えないっていうか。
In all due seriousness, I think I need to keep a list of characters' names handy, just so before I do an episode each and every time, so that way I don't just suddenly forget somebody's name.
ほう。女性に向かって年の話をするた、いい度胸してるじゃないの、藤田巡査部長。
A wicked glint appeared in Tomie's eyes. Being faced with a glare as terrifying as that of the legendary Medusa, the detective called Fujita broke out into a cold sweat. So that's your name.
いや、俺じゃなかった。本家は別に。
Wait a minute. Was your name already being shown right here? Apparently my observational skills are suffering a bit too. Definitely not a good sign.
署に戻ったら始末書書く？この前の万引きの現行犯逮捕の時、犯人思いっきりぶん投げて店のガラス3枚も割っちゃったのよね。あれやりすぎだって店長さんから苦情が来てたんだけど。
So you're the kind that causes collateral damage, huh? You're gonna be fun. I can already tell.
とりあえずあの時は目をつぶってあげたけど、あ、ガラス代の弁償も経費で落とすのやっぱ申請却下するわね。
I don't think you should do that. He doesn't look terribly wealthy, even for a detective.
あのガラス3枚とも特注らしいから結構値が張るみたいだけど、まあなんとかなるでしょう。1ヶ月間昼食とパチンコをやめたら十分足りるだろうし、ね。
Oh, you... Yeah, I guess you definitely do look like the type who would play pachinko.
すいません警部。もう起きました。
ならよし、行くわよ藤田くん。
鬼。
Well, I would argue this demon's doing you a favor by forcing you away from the pachinko slots. But that's just my humble subjective philosophical opinion.
それじゃあ現場までご案内します。
I'm glad that we're in no major hurry to really investigate this thing, so hopefully that's a sign that this crime scene that we're going to is not really all that important. The detective who greeted Tomie smiled bitterly and shrugged, leading them onward. The female police officer who just overwhelmed her subordinate was becoming famous back at the prefectural police headquarters, the prefectural. Yeah, that's the police headquarters that found the barrel to begin with, if I remember correctly. So well, maybe not definitely, I don't know for sure yet, but I'm thinking that's what we're looking at here. The investigation of the barrel. And regardless of her appearance, the 1st Investigation Division's clearance rating had become one of the best in the prefecture since she joined the department. Yellow tape reading "No Trespassing" had already been hung near the base of the mountain path. Tomie casually stepped over the tape, but suddenly frowned when her feet touched the wet ground.
あ、気をつけてください。その辺りは結構濡れて滑りやすくなっていますから。
みたいですね。
Tomei wished he had said that earlier, but not feeling like complaining for real, she pulled her foot out of the mud without letting the irritation show. And when she raised her eyes upward, she saw the gentle slope of the path was totally immersed in muddy black soil.
小規模の不審火だと聞きましたが、随分放水したんですね。
消防団の話だと、当初の火の勢いはものすごかったそうです。この辺りは樹木も多く、彼らが到着した時には周りにも延焼しかけていたので、念のためと聞いております。
この火災は柿内サービスエリアの通報だったんですよね。っていうか、あそこから見えるなんてよっぽどの火力ですよ。
そうね。真夜中で電灯もないとはいえ、そう簡単に見える距離じゃないわ。
Tomei nodded while looking back in the general direction of the Kakuichi service area, her nose twitching as she noticed a strange smell in the air. In addition to the odor of trees, she smelled oil, and the aroma of burning kerosene as well. And as she drew closer to the scene, that particular smell grew thicker. The smell of the tragedy waiting ahead. As they moved a little farther ahead, they encountered an opening in the forest, with several men there looking about with flashlights in hand. It was a gentle grassy area that hikers used as a resting place. Tomorrow, however, surely it will be rumored in other ways.
早見さん、柿内署の未来警部が到着しました。
ああ、お疲れ様です。意外に早かったですね。迷いませんでしたか？
ええ。ずっと一本道でしたから、なんとか。
藤田くんはずっと寝てただけでしょうが。それはともかく、状況は？
まあ、無線で連絡した通りです。
こんがりといい感じとでも言いましょうか。
The elder detective Hayami lowered his shoulders. That is the first sound effect that actually sounds appropriate for what it's being used for. Just then, a young detective ran down the nearby slope and slipped past the three of them while holding his hands to his mouth.
ああ、だから見るのはやめとけって言ったのに。あいつしばらく肉食えんだろうな。
現場はこの先ですか？
あ、はい。あ、警部はご覧いただかなくても、あとは我々が。
Even though she was his superior, Hayami, knowing he was being disrespectful, tried to gently stop Tomie from looking, taking her inexperience, age, and gender into consideration. However, Tomie raised one hand and calmly asserted herself.
大丈夫です。慣れていますよ。焼死体には。
Dare I ask how you're so familiar? A barrel was illuminated by work lights near the center of the opening. The air quickly grew stagnant as they approached it. Tomei took a step and suddenly felt something was off. Before she had time to think, the shadow of something in the barrel caught her eye, and she went to investigate. She grabbed her flashlight and pointed it inside. Upon seeing what was inside, Tomie's chest tightened in pain. She quietly meditated and said a prayer for the recently deceased.
ひどいもんです。頭のてっぺんからつま先まで真っ黒焦げですよ。
確かに着衣の有無もこれじゃほとんどわかりませんね。
一応体型から女性じゃないかとの見立てですがね。年齢は見ての通り不明です。まあ詳しいことは司法解剖してみないと判断できませんが。
Well, looks like I was right about where the scene was taking place and when.
抵抗した様子はありませんね。目立った外傷もざっと見たところ特になしか。
After muttering a prayer, Hayami noticed Tomie furiously examining the body and let out a sigh. She was quite the courageous woman, so there was no surprise she was able to become a chief inspector at such a young age. In contrast, her subordinate cowered in fear behind her, unable to even look at the body.
みないさん、よく平気っすね。自分ここにいるだけで胸がムカムカしてきますよ。
吐くなら向こうでしなさいよ。現場汚したら蹴っ飛ばすから。ところで速水さん、消防団からの報告を聞かせていただけますか？
ああ、はいはい。
Hayami took out the black notebook from his breast pocket and flipped through the pages, reading aloud the statement he just received.
23時08分、柿内サービスエリア内の公衆電話から火災の方を受けて、G ブロック担当部署より第3消防分団と消防車2台が到着。同11分、放水及び消火活動を開始。火災に延焼の危険があったため、鎮火後も放水を継続。同19分、放水を終了。23時30分頃、火の出元と思われるドラム缶内に人の焼死体らしき物体を発見し、消防車からの無線にて警察署へ通報。その数分後に柿内署の機動捜査隊が現場に急行し、23時41分、速水以下当直の刑事が検証を開始。以上が消防団の数名に聞き込みを行った内容です。
わかりました。それから周辺に何か遺留物は発見できましたか？
いえ、残念ながら林道の終点からここまで可能な限り捜索しましたが、あいにく凶器らしきものも被害者の所持品の類も見当たりませんでした。もっとも夜が明けてから改めて捜索を行ってみないと断言はできない現状ですが。
なるほど。あ、そういえば車は？
Tomei asked Hayami as the question crossed her mind. This forest is far from civilization. It would have taken a considerable amount of time to walk here on foot. Although Tomei managed to drive here fine, this narrow, dimly lit forest road was quite dangerous. She didn't think anyone would be comfortable traveling here without a car. So if the victim rode here in a car, some trace of it may have been left behind. However, Hayami shook his head and answered.
いや、我々もそう思ったんですがね。あいにく到着時にはそれらしき車両は見当たりませんでした。それから消防団にも確認したんですが、目の届く限り付近に不審な車は一台も見当たらなかったとのことです。
一台もです。
はい。もちろんその他の移動手段についても周辺を探索しましたが、自転車すらも残されておりませんでしたね。
Try looking for some human-shaped paw prints. That might give you a clue. Woof woof.
ということは、被害者は誰かの運転で自動車などに乗ってきたか、運ばれてここに来た。そう考える方が自然でしょうか。
ええ。そういう意味では自殺の線は消えましたな。
Tomei nodded in agreement. It was clear even without going through past records that the possibility of suicide, with the exception of a planned group suicide, was practically non-existent. And the possibility of an accident was slim, for the same reason. If this was an accident, the victim's companion would have made an attempt to contact authorities.
ということは、やっぱ殺しで決まりですかね。
おそらく。それに遺体の状況から見ても、被害者が抵抗した様子は見受けられない。ということは、焼き殺されたというよりも、殺されてから焼かれた、といったところでしょうか。
だとしても、何もわざわざ焼かなくても、とは思いますけどね。
藤田くん、知ってる？焼殺っていうのは、加害者の感情が最も現れた方法と言われているのよ。怨恨とか見せしめとか、そういうこと。
Fujita had nothing to say to that explanation. Hayami, knowing Tomei's past, let out a sigh and deliberately stayed silent. Tomei noticed the reaction and coughed awkwardly.
いずれにしても視界がはっきりしないこの状況で推測だけ先走っても仕方ないわ。朝になって周辺が確認できるようになるまで現場は維持でお願いします。
まあそれに加えて詳細は鑑識の結果待ちというところなんですがね。
何か引っかかることでも？
Tomei was a bit confused by Hayami's choice of words, and then she suddenly looked around, before returning her gaze back to Hayami.
そういえば鑑識はまだ到着していないんですか？
Tomei finally figured out what felt off to her. The forensics team was nowhere to be seen. When the mobile investigation team gets dispatched from the prefectural police headquarters, a few people in charge of forensics accompany them almost immediately. Even if they were dispatched to a different site, someone else is usually available.
道に迷っているんでしょうか？藤田くん、車戻って無線かけてみて。
ああ、いやいや、私らと一緒に来てたんですけどね。実はもう返しちゃったんですよ。
え？どうしてですか？
申し訳ないです。私もついさっき気づいたんですけどね。
Hayami scratched his head, continuing after some hesitation.
消防団からの連絡は柿内エリアの担当でしたからね。うっかりしてました。ここお隣さんの管轄なんですよ。
またですか？あっちゃー！
Number one, you seem very broken up about this. And number two, is this a frequent problem you guys have? Showing up in jurisdictions that aren't yours for investigations. Technically through a legalese standpoint, sticking your nose in affairs that aren't really yours. Before Tomie could react, Fujita let out an embarrassing wail and looked up to the sky.
ちょっと藤田くん。何なのその反応は。みっともない。
叫びたくもなりますよ。ミナイさん、警部だって先月のあれを忘れたわけじゃないでしょ？
What happened last month?
過ぎたことよ。
Tomie, maintaining a poker face, paid the complaints no heed. Fujita, however, was still stomping on the ground, scratching his head in frustration. Stop stomping on the crime scene!
おいおい、現場を荒らすなよ。泥跳ねてるっての。
ああ、すいません。けど、頭に来るのはしょうがないでしょう。こっちは言いがかりでひどい目にあったんですから。あ
あ、そういえばあの時も、見ない警部と組んでいたのは君だったな。
そうですよ。逃走中の犯人車両を追跡して高速道路を越えたのは不可抗力だったってのに。
Oh, fun.
捜査管区の侵害行為だって何なんですか？
普通に走れば追いつけると思ったんだけどね。犯人が一般車に衝突して停車させて道を塞いできたのは計算外だった。
Now that's quite the fuck up. In fact, Tomie's prefectural police and the prefectural police next door still aren't officially cooperating in wide area investigations. As such, in case of a criminal crossing the prefectural border, or an investigation taking place across the border like today, there was this unspoken agreement between the two to just contact each other instead of violating each other's area of jurisdiction. Even if she didn't like it, Tomie knew full well that border crossing was frowned upon. Thinking back on it, Tomie now realized that getting mad at the criminal who had harmed civilians was a mistake. Tomie didn't realize she had crossed prefectural borders until after she forced the criminal to stop by the roadside, dragged him from the driver's seat, and handcuffed him.
でも、だからってそれでなんでミナイさんが戒告処分なんですか？運転していたのは俺ですから、ミナイさんに責任はないでしょ？I
don't know. I mean, if you're already pursuing a suspect and they happen to cross lines between the two territories, and you manage to apprehend them, from my point of view, that's your catch, even if you technically caught them in an area that's outside your jurisdiction.
お前だったら減給になっていたよ。
There really should not be any arguments to be had over such a thing, in my opinion.
結婚したてのくせに嫁さん泣かす気か？警部が肩代わりしてくれたことくらい理解しろ。
別にそれだけの理由じゃないですよ。
Tomie quickly interjected, hiding her relief. Looks like the others thought she did it to cover up for Fujita after all. She'd be lying if she said that wasn't her intention at all. But more than that, she couldn't forgive herself for making such a mistake, let alone for now owing the head of police, who also was kind of a natural enemy to her. Oh yeah? Do go on. His intentions aren't bad. Quite the opposite, he constantly tries to treat her well. But thanks to certain awkward circumstances, she can't afford to accept his favors. What, were you two a couple or something? Feeling like an ungrateful brat, Tomie clicked her tongue in self-deprecation.
そもそも越境が予想された時点でお隣さんに捜査協力を申し出ておけば問題は起こらなかった。それを怠ったんだから先方の筋は通っている。一応ね。それに理由はどうあれ一般車両を巻き込んでしまったのは事実だし、あの後の交通整理で沢口署さんに迷惑をかけたのは確かなこと。だからこれは私の管理責任の問題よ。
けど
それより速水さん、この件を隣の県警本部と沢口署さんに連絡は？
Tomie was grateful for Fujita's sympathy, but she ended that discussion right there. They had other problems to address. It was only a matter of time before Sawaguchi Station, the neighboring prefectural police they were on such bad terms with, would know something was up. As such, it would be best to inform them about the incident and hand it over right now, while the investigation is still in the early stages. And Hayami, having more than twice the experience of Tomie, understood her intention completely.
その点は抜かりなく、ちょうど警部たちが到着する直前に全部済ませました。鑑識の連中をさっさと引き上げさせたのは、つまりはそういうことです。もし彼らがとどまっていたら、連絡もなしに現場検証を行うとは何事か、なんてことにもなりかねませんからね。
なるほど。英断です。
Being the hard-boiled cop he is, Hayami made the right call. Sending the forensics team away and leaving only the mobile investigation team on site will make it easier to justify their actions to the Sawaguchi police. They can claim that they rushed to the scene in response to a tip, but identify it to be outside their jurisdiction and opt to maintain the scene as is.
というわけですから、警部たちも早いとこ引き上げた方がいいですね。お隣さんもそろそろ到着する頃ですから、顔を合わせたりなんてしたら、また難癖つけられるでしょうし、そもそも気分悪いでしょ
う。ですね。そうしますか、藤田くん。
たく。でもそれなら、なんで俺たちをここに？
Fujita suddenly raised a question. They had radios, so they could have communicated the boundary issue much earlier. Fair point. However, Hayami laughed and responded.
納得いかんでしょ？林道に入ったら警部たちの書き打ち書の管轄。そこに今回の犯人が潜んでいるかもしれないのに、その犯行現場を確認しないままおめおめと引き返す。奇想としても真夜中に所轄さんを呼び出しておいて、土産もなく門前払いさせるのは不義理に当たりますからね。
速水さん。
バタバタっとやっちゃったので申し訳ありませんが、一応現場と被害者の写真は鑑識に行って撮らせてあります。話は通しておきますので、何か関連の事件が起こった際には使ってやってください。
気を使わせましたね。
いえいえ、我々奇想は姫さんのファンですからね。
Hayami let out a boisterous laugh, as if to dispel this sentimental mood. Tomie wasn't very fond of the nickname, but this time it was a little comforting.
それでは速水さん、この後もお疲れ様ですが、沢口署さんへの引き継ぎをお願いします。
了解しました、南井警部。
Nodding, Tomie turned around and descended the mountain path. Fujita wore a concerned expression while he followed her down. Fujita, who took over driving on the way back, was still feeling pretty angry.
藤田くん、そろそろ落ち着いたら？
しかしですね、南井さ
ん。もう過ぎたことよ。
That said, Tomie turned to look at the scenery flowing outside the window. Right. It was already over. But, just like Detective Fujita said, she definitely did forget. Even now, Tomie remembered the persistent mockery and the warped and greedy attitude of the inspector from Sawaguchi Station. She remembered his haughty way of speaking, as if he had caught the most wanted criminal. Later, she heard that the man had failed the chief inspector promotion exam many times, and held a grudge against Tomie, who earned that promotion before her 30s. It's not like being a female manager hasn't invited a lot of prejudice and curious eyes before. As such, she thought she was used to that kind of thing. But But that was the first time she got met with so much obvious and unreserved malice. Consequently, on that night she became drunk enough to dull her consciousness. And she somehow traveled to her sister Marika's house around midnight. The next morning, her sister didn't ask anything about the previous night. She only greeted her with a good morning and served an unusually good breakfast along with Tomei's favorite coffee.
それにしても、
何？
ミナイさんは広域捜査官の肩書きもお持ちなんでしょ？だったら越境捜査を行うことに問題はないはずじゃないですか。
さっきも言ったけど、お隣の県警さんとは協定について現在も調整中。それにこっちの県警本部長と向こうの本部長って以前から犬猿の仲らしいから、当分はまとまることもなさそうね。
そんなの変ですよ。
まったく刑事魂と桜の大門が聞いて呆れるわ。
Plus, Detective Fujita didn't have to remind her. Tomei had already repeatedly appealed to the necessity of the regional investigation. If anything, Tomei herself was even more angered and frustrated than him, as her pleas still bore no fruit. Even the police have different opinions and values from prefecture to prefecture. Their strong regional loyalties cause their actions to become selfish, inefficient, and vertically divided. The boundary between the two prefectures near Kakuuchi Station symbolized this fact perfectly.
前の県警の方がよっぽどマシだったかもね。なんでこんなとこに来ちゃったんだろうな。
ミナイさん。
It was disappointing. She yearned to become the kind of policeman her father was, as the main office promised her, but every advancement in life was met by unreasonable conflict. She felt pathetic. She longed to be a symbol of justice, to be proud to follow in the image of her father. But little by little, she couldn't help but doubt that was anything more than empty fantasy.
もうせっかく納得しようとしてたのに、藤田君のおかげでまた怒りがぶり返してきたじゃないの。
俺のせいですか？
そうよ。こうなったらやけ食いしてやると。
Just as she said that, Tomei spotted a sign for a hamburger shop on the side of the road. 1 kilometer ahead, open 24 hours, was written there in large text.
藤田君、この先ドライブスルーがあるって。次の料金所近いからちょっと降りて寄ってくれない？
今からですか？まだ午前の2時ですよ。
たまにはいいじゃないの。24時間営業みたいだし、お店に迷惑かけるわけじゃないから全然問題なし。
というかミナイさん、よく肉空気になれますね。そのタフな精神が本当に羨ましいです。
Eating meat doesn't require a tough spirit.
けど太りますよ。
It depends on a variety of factors, but not inherently so.
だと？決めた。ハンバーガー藤田君にもおごってあげるから。だからこれ命令、必ず食べるように。
ちょっと！無理ですよ。
Eating the beef is not unreasonable, boy.
ミナイさんと違って俺胃に入りませんって。
What, you a vegetarian?
却下。ちなみに完食できなきゃ始末書ね。頑張ってね。
あんたやっぱり鬼です。
それにしても
何ですか？
While she gazed at the flowing scenery outside the window, Tomei muttered softly.
もしあれが殺人だとしたら、犯人はどういう意図だったんだろう。
Burning the victim, or burning a corpse deep in the mountains. They seemed like plausible scenarios at first glance, but there was actually a major contradiction. The main advantage of committing a crime deep in the mountains was the length of time until discovery. Prolonging the time until the crime was discovered would have given the culprit that much more time to flee. It would have made the police investigation more difficult as well. However, in this case, the criminal announced the crime by lighting the suspicious fire that drew the police to the scene. So why did they commit murder so deep in the mountains? And why did they leave the corpse there like that?
藤田君はどう思う？この事件。
むしろ聞きたいのは俺の方ですよ。ミナイさんこそどうですか？
Of course, Tomie had no answer. However, someone chose such a troubling place for a mere murder and left them with this strange mystery. The lingering uncertainty brought an ache to Tomie's chest. I heard a loud voice sharply calling me. The surreal experience forced me out of my dream.
夏美！いつまで寝てるの？
Needless to say, it was my mom's voice. Uh-oh, those are some very stern-sounding thumps. Might want to get your butt out of bed before it's too late. I heard the sound of footsteps climbing the stairs and approaching. I pulled a blanket over my head to block the sound. Not gonna help. Waking up would have been a waste. I wanted to get back to dreaming. However, Mom opened the door to my room with no regard for my modest happiness and slowly entered my room.
いつまで寝てるの？ほら、夏美！
Illegal entry into a teenage girl's room, even if it's your mom. This was a huge violation of my privacy. I exaggeratedly murmured this in my sleep. Of course, that didn't reach Mom's ears.
どうせ昨日も夜更かししたんでしょう。夜起きて朝寝るなんて生活、体に毒なのよ。
Oh, hey, a fellow insomniac. Oh, so noisy. Well, or you could just be a night owl. But Mom was right about that. I wasn't getting enough sleep. Anyway, the homework assigned yesterday was awful. Banging my head to complete it by today took a tremendous amount of time. Still, staying up late at night playing was problematic, but I wondered if missing sleep due to studying was more acceptable. Depends on who you ask.
まさか、授業中に昼寝なんてしてないでしょうね。最近ご飯もあんまり食べないし、お菓子じゃ大きくなれないわよ。
God, Mom, you're pretty energetic early in the morning. Vaguely thinking that, I realized that Mom was starting to go off on another of her never-ending rants. So I tried to escape to the safe zone in my futon. But my enemy was formidable. In the blink of an eye, whoosh! My blanket was snatched and thrown aside.
いい加減にしなさい。学校遅れるわよ。ちょっと夏美、それは返事なの？ただの寝言？まったく。お母さんちゃんと起こしたからね。
After a small sigh, Mom left the room. I listened to confirm she was gone, then used my toes to grab the blanket that fell under the bed and pulled it up. Then, I was about to fall into a world of peaceful sleep again. You really shouldn't do it, tempting as it is. Mom probably doesn't know how stressful it is to attend school in the city. Sleep should not be taken lightly. Plus, it's tiring trying to get along with unfamiliar people. And I couldn't have predicted that city life would be so different from the town I came from. It's a big deal with a huge handicap and a lot of stress. I remembered my introduction on my first day at the new school. On my homeroom teacher's urging, I stood at the corner of the podium, scared. In front of me was a classmate raised in the city that I couldn't believe was the same age. Everyone looked so cute, so cool. I, on the other hand, was bashfully wearing an unfamiliar uniform, like a little kid at the Shichigo-san festival. It made me feel strongly out of place, as if I suddenly appeared in a school drama on TV. Well, I think you being in a school drama would be preferable compared to what you're actually in right now. Finally, the greeting was over. But for everyone in class, Okinomiya was a place they had never heard of, so they responded flabbergasted. And, as soon as class began, the teachers started writing words and formulas that seemed to be from another world. It was a battle of knowledge I had never seen before. Well, the fact that you're asking yourself that question tells me probably not. Although I managed to open a textbook somehow, the beginning of a difficult problem was already written on the blackboard. Get your thinking cap on. I desperately copied it into my notebook, and even though I wanted to hear the explanation, the teacher only spoke about the main points and quickly moved on to the next topic. At the speed we were progressing, I had no chance to ask questions. I had to move my pencil with breathtaking speed. And to my surprise, the other students maintained their composure while writing in their notebooks. At the point where I was no longer able to catch up, I seemed to lose sight of the destination and became a lost child. I didn't even have a chance to speak up. And surprisingly, the other students continued writing in their notebooks without losing their composure. I couldn't believe it. I was so far from catching up, I didn't even know where I should aim. I was completely lost. Now I thought, it was too late to even keep up in the city. My precious time had already ended, and it saddened me. And the most troubling part, during break time I could overhear everyone loudly talking. These girls were chatting about their favorite brand at some trendy shop. About men, putting on makeup, bands, magazines that don't sell in Okinomiya, and love stories. Words I had never heard before were flying back and forth at high speed. Even with my full attention focused on listening, none of it made any sense. I could hardly believe we spoke the same language. It was communication from a foreign culture. Meanwhile, I just felt like an alien. My first day was only beginning, and my longing for a city life was transformed into anxiety and disappointment. I was overwhelmed. What should I do? Will tomorrow be any better for me? And then, while I was feeling beaten, that was exactly when a helping hand was extended to me.
何かお困りかね転校生さんや、こんちは。
Chisato, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Anyway, hello.
今日もいい天気だね。
I was holding my head down in my desk alone when I heard a voice beside me and looked up. There, a cheerful girl with pigtails was staring at me with a smile on her face.
はい、こんにちは。
I rushed up right quickly and struggled to squeeze out a reply. Suddenly, I turned my eyes out the window. Good weather. But today, it's raining.
面白いね、あなた。
Apparently, I had mistakenly expressed a sentiment from my heart. Then, when I saw the laughter rising onto this girl's face, I knew I was being made fun of. Of course. Come on. I put everything I had into an angry glare. Then...
ああ、ごめんごめん。それよりさ。
I opened my mouth just a bit to reply and bare the whites of my teeth, trying to get control of the situation from this girl.
挨拶代わりにちょっと聞きたいんだけど、あなた何か病気してない？
I stupidly raised my voice upon hearing that unexpected question. I'm sure my eyes turned into dots and my mouth was half open.
別に、私しばらく風邪もひいてませんが。
本当に？体が重いとか熱っぽいとかは？ああ、腹痛でも恥ずかしがらずに正直に言ってみてよ。女同士なんだからさ。
私本当に何も。
Nothing. It must be. In response to that, the girl standing before my eyes looked straight at me. It was making me more and more anxious. First off, who asks, "Are you sick?" as the first thing you say to a girl you don't know? Am I acting so obviously abnormal that even a stranger can see it?
私、そんなに顔色悪いですか？
にゃ、全然。むしろ健康そのもの。
And why are you asking if I'm sick? Shake, shake. That was completely unexpected. I struggled to avoid falling out of my chair. If I fell over here, by tomorrow everyone would be laughing at me. Not joking.
なんですかあなたは。いきなり。
でもさ、病気ってのはパッと見だとわからないもんだよ。特にやばい病ほど体の奥深くに潜伏するものだから、気づいた時には手遅れとかよくある話でさ。
As if that's not obvious foreshadowing of Hinamizawa bug syndrome flaring up.
そうなんですか？
そうなんだよ、転校生さん。
私、君吉です。君吉夏美。
I shyly repeated my name the same way I said during homeroom this morning. And the pigtail girl grabbed me by the shoulders and looked into my eyes with a twinkle in her eyes.
そうなんだよ、君吉さん。いや、この際だからフレンドリーに言わせてもらおう、夏美さん。
We're definitely moving a few steps ahead at breakneck speed, aren't we?
病気というものは怖い。とっても怖い。初めは大したことないと思って放置していたら、あっという間に悪化して取り返しがつかなくなる。そうなったら怖いでしょ？
Oh yeah, I agree. It definitely can be scary. I've seen how it all plays out to its logical conclusion many times now.
怖いよね。いや、怖いはずだ。違うか。
Well, sad thing is, with this particular bug, you really shouldn't be scared, because it seems to like fear. A lot.
はい。怖いです。
そこでだ。そのためにも医学において重要なのは現在健康であることではない。
being healthy right now is not the most important facet of medicine? Do you even understand what medicine is for?
これから健康でいられるかというその一点に尽きるのだ。
Well, yeah, I mean, true, but being healthy in the present is kind of important to making sure that you're still healthy in the future, because if you're not being healthy now, yeah, I mean, time moves forward. Time is linear. The present can affect the future. Know what I mean?
つまりそれは何か。それは隠れ潜む病気を早期にあぶり出し発見し撲滅すること。その結果として得られるのが家内安全七国宝生焼肉定食だ。であるからして今は健康だと思っていても定期的に健康診断を行うことがこの先長きにわたって日本を支えていく若人としての義務いや使命。
Wait a freaking minute. How does my personal health result in me getting good food on my plate exactly?
ロイヤルデューティーフリーなのだ。
で、あんたは何が言いたいわけ？
Tamako, huh?
悪いことは言わない。うちの病院に入院しなさい。あ、なんならこの私がこの手で事前にじっくりねっとり予備診断を。
Ah, I see. So that's what this was all being set up for, huh?
そのワキワキと動く手はやめんか。
Suddenly, an unknown girl delivered a blow to the back of her head, and the girl with the pigtails fell to the floor screaming. Not gonna lie, didn't expect her to be the type willing to resort to physical violence. I mean, just by looking at her.
痛いな。
Appearances can be deceiving.
いきなり何すんのさ、タマコ。
Surprisingly, however, the big-tailed girl was able to stand up and turn to her assailant. Unlike me, who was stunned just watching, the other girl broke in swinging a dictionary. God damn! She sighed with exasperation and then began to speak.
それはそのまま私のセリフだっつのちさと。初対面の子を不安がらせて楽しいのか、あんたは。
Clearly.
彼女は転校してきたばかりなのに、明日から登校拒否にでもさせる気？
失礼なことを言うわね、あんたは。私はとてもフレンドリーに自己紹介も兼ねて君吉さんに話しかけていただけよ。
Yeah, well, unless it's a financial transaction, being a bit too friendly right off the bat is not something most people appreciate.
今の会話がフレンドリー？キャッチバーのお兄さんの方がよっぽど親しみあるっつの。お願いだからこの学校のイメージをガタガタにしないでちょうだい。
この程度の和訳茶でガタガタになる学校なんて将来が知れるというものよ。これからの時代は個性をいかに伸ばすかに教育の重きを置くべきなのよ。
Oh, so it's my fault that you want to play grabby with me, huh?
目指すはナンバーワンではなくロンリーワンってやつよ。
それを言うならオンリーワンだっつの。あんたは孤独を愛する銀融詩人か。
A high-tempo conversation between these two girls was unfolding right in front of me. It was amusing, but it was so fast I could barely keep up. And when she finally noticed my surprise, the girl playing the part of the straight man in this comedy looked at me. Her smooth light hair was cut a little above the shoulders. This girl was pretty good looking.
ごめんごめん、横で大騒ぎしちゃって。びっくりしたでしょ？いえ、はい。正直でよろしい。改めて、はじめまして。私は牧村珠子。このクラスの学級委員長をやっています。よろしくね、君吉さん。はい。こちらこそよろしくお願いします。
で、私は
この子は1分以内に忘れていい。見かけは変だけど中身もやっぱり変だから。
But it's because she's strange that is why she's so memorable. How can I forget such a person?
おいこら、友達に向かってそりゃどういう了見だ。友達？誰が？もう許さ。バッ。
Makimura-san was quick to take action. She angrily raised her hands toward the pigtailed girl, swinging a dictionary, and it made contact. The front cover vigorously smacked into the other girl's face, then she fell dramatically on the spot. I was seeing an impressive brawl, but when I looked around, the surrounding reaction was cold. Rather, the people around even looked sympathetic. Perhaps these two had exchanges like this in class every day? But the whites of this girl's eyes were peeling. Has she collapsed?
大丈夫ですか？ああ、平気平気。見かけ以上に頑丈にできてるから、この子は。それに、なんせ佐伯大病院のご令嬢さんだからね。もし大ごとになっても、最高の医療で手当てしてもらえるから、問題なし。
So, a family that owns a medical practice, huh? Fascinating.
そういう問題じゃ。
Psyche? When I heard that name, I suddenly remembered. Come to think of it, I went to the biggest general hospital in this town with Grandma on the day I moved here, and I feel like Psyche Hospital was its name. Then, could it be?
そう。知る人ぞ知る佐伯病院の一人娘なのだよ、私は。あ、自己紹介まだだったね。私は佐伯千里。よろしくね。
I hadn't noticed her recovery, but Psyche-san had apparently gotten up. She seemed to be acting grandly, like a lady, but her dignity was compromised by the swelling on her nose.
あと、呼び方はちーちゃんでもちーでも何でもご自由に。
First she, then me, now Chi. Wait, I think I got the first two backwards.
よろしくお願いします、佐伯さん。いやー、ちーって呼んでよ。
Suddenly, I was being hugged and instinctively let out a fierce cry. This Psyche-san might be a dangerous person? What was your first clue?
やめなさいっての千里。君吉さんマジで引いてるじゃないの。私のことをちーって呼ぶお願いを聞いてくれたら話してあげるけど。
I do what she says. She belongs to a family of doctors. She probably knows enough about the human anatomy to do some serious damage if she really wants to.
そりゃお願いじゃなくて脅迫だ。
And this woman, well, I don't think we need to worry about her throwing that dictionary at us, but I imagine it does hurt.
それより鼻水拭きなさい。ほれ。あ、本当だ。って誰のせいだ、誰の
？When Psyche-san finally released me, she snatched a tissue from Makimura-san and angrily blew her nose. Despite the current situation, more than anything, there was something I had to confirm.
何君吉さん。それで私、どこが悪いんでしょうか？え？
A blank look. Makimura-san and Saki-san widened their eyes and looked at my face. Maybe what I asked was a mistake? But if I actually looked sick, I needed to go to the doctor as soon as possible. Then,
あなたナイスキャラ
Yeah, she does seem nice. I'm just wondering how long it's going to stay the case, given the rest of this story's track record. Not only Saki-san, but Makimura-san too. They both burst into laughter at once. I didn't understand the meaning behind their sudden burst of laughter. While I scratched my neck, my eyes began to water and I started to panic. I didn't think it was that funny, but their laughter grew even bigger. That was my first encounter with those two. Since that day, the two of them have been my best friends, and they taught me all about the city. Excellent tips like how to wear my school uniform and how to apply colored lipstick, morning shampoo, how to make friends, and more. They taught me a lot I didn't know about how to live this life. And the three of us would go on what we called extracurricular lessons, going to a busy place like the front of the station, going shopping, watching movies, chatting over fast food. I wasn't good with crowds, but everything felt fresh, and it was fun. This urban life was full of anxiety, but thanks to my two friends, I was gradually growing familiar with it and beginning to enjoy it. And a year later, I became accustomed to my life now, finding things I wanted to do little by little. This city girl wanted to improve her grades more and more. And then, more than anything, like most girls, I wanted to fall in love. If wishes come true, like the hero of a romance manga I read before, that person...
そうだ。千里ちゃんに借りていたあの漫画、返さなくちゃ。それと、たまこちゃんには、カセットテープを貸して。
My brain slowly awakened, and I began to wonder what time it is right now. I looked at the bedside alarm clock in my sleepy eyes.
しまった!
Your mom tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. What? I'm late! I'm late! I'm very late! No way. Wait. Never mind, I wasn't supposed to read that. I jumped in a hurry, threw off my pajamas, and put on my uniform. There was no time to be for a morning shampoo. I at least tried to comb my hair with a brush, but it was so tangled that I couldn't fix it. Besides, the person reflected in the mirror looked different from yesterday. There were huge pimples of I think you mean on her forehead, sitting there like uninvited guests.
こんなんじゃ学校行けないよ。隠さなきゃ。
It's better to be late than show up looking uncool. Chisato-chan overslept like this once before, and carelessly came to school wearing a nightcap. For a while, her classmates referred to her as the nightcapper. But Chisato-chan was okay with it. She was cheerfully laughing along with them. I just can't understand the depth of her heart and her unlimited values. Wait, that sort of thing doesn't really matter. I struggled hard to hide my acne with my bangs. Somehow I succeeded, but it took a long time, and I only finished at the last minute. What an interesting clock.
お母さんどうして起こしてくれなかったの?
That looks like a tablet. Satisfied that I somehow managed to deal with my appearance, I ran down the stairs toward a dining table and saw Mom having a relaxing breakfast. She did try to wake you up, by the way.
何寝ぼけてるの？お母さん起こしたでしょ？夏美も返事したじゃない。あれは返事じゃなくって、つまり、もういい。朝ごはんは？そんな暇ないよ。夏美、あんたまさかダイエットしてるの？そんな不健康で不健全なこと、お母さん許しませんよ。
Diets are unhealthy, unsound things in your world? What is wrong with you?
そうじゃないってば。
How did she interpret the situation that way? Where did this diet idea come from? Mom sometimes made flimsy remarks like this, like some kind of uncultured person. Forget flimsy! What she just said was just outright nonsensical! Mom insisted I should have breakfast, but I headed for the bathroom. There, I ran to Dad trimming his beard. I bashfully apologized and quickly washed my face. It was a rather rough wash. I couldn't complain about it, but Dad continued shaving behind me. I love having a kind and gentle father, but I can't always depend on him to act that way. But I guess that's inevitable, since he lives surrounded by 3 ladies. 3? Who's the third? Besides, I could never imagine Dad exploding at a little word like Mom does.
なんだ夏美、思い出し笑いか。
Through the mirror, I saw Dad tilting his head when he saw me giggle.
なんでもないよ。なんだかうちってすっごく平和だなって。
そうかな。まあ確かに平和が一番。父さんの若い頃はな、ラブ&ピース。
なんか古い。ってそれどころじゃなかった。
Shutting out the story about Dad's youth, I struggled with my tangled hair again. I managed to deal with the acne, but I was upset with all this sleepyhead hair, excuse me. Ugh, maybe I should shorten it like Tamako-chan.
夏美ちゃん。
Oh, so you're number 4. Oh yeah, you did mention a grandmother earlier. That's right. I forgot about that. Looking back at the voice from behind me, Grandma was inviting me in the door.
何おばあちゃん。私急いで。
急いでるならおばあちゃんが髪言ってあげようか。
本当？
Ever since I was little, I've loved having Grandma do my hair. Her hands were wrinkly but warm. She was able to style my hair better and faster than I could do on my own. Besides, it was comforting to have Grandma gently stroking my hair.
夏美ちゃん、髪伸びたね。
お母さんより？
あの子も綺麗な髪だからね。
Grandma smiled and narrowed her eyes. Come to think of it, the neighbors often praised Mom for her beautiful hair. That sort of thing never happens for me, though, I humbly said with a blank expression. That would be like saying the side dishes at dinner are luxurious.
でもちょっと長すぎるかもね。なんならおばあちゃんが切ってあげようか。
いいよ。この町の子はみんな美容師さんに切ってもらうんだから。
Just have your grandma cut for you, save some money.
そうなのかい？
雑誌モデルとか芸能人がよくやってる流行の髪型があってね。みんなでそれを真似してみたりするの。とっても可愛らしくなるんだよ。あ。
The shadow cast over Grandma's expression as she looked in the mirror. Maybe I said something wrong.
そうかい。近頃は夏美ちゃんもずいぶんおしゃれさんになったしね。すっかりこの町に馴染んじゃったんだね。
Random comment, but I like how the window in the living room is reflected within the TV's reflection. Nice little attention to detail. I could feel Grandma's fingertips fill with strength. And the next moment, the brush caught on the back of my hair and pulled a little.
ごめんね、夏美ちゃん。痛かったね。いけないおばあちゃんだ。
Grandma stroked my head and blew on it. It started to tickle, so I got up to brush her hand away.
あ、夏美ちゃん。まだ終わっていないよ。もう少し。
I looked in the mirror and saw that some of my hair was trailing from my neckline, unable to be tied. But if I spent any more time on this, I would definitely be late.
いいのいいの。ちょっと無造作なのがいい感じだもん。ありがとう、おばあちゃん。
夏美ちゃん、よそ様の子みたいだよ。
え？
One unexpected phrase from Grandma had me choked up. A child from far away. Why would she say that? What did that mean?
おばあちゃん、どうしたの？そんな。
沖宮にいた頃は寝癖のままでも学校に行っていたのに。おばあちゃんは沖宮にいた頃の夏美ちゃんが。
おばあちゃん。
あ、嫌だね。年を取ると環境が変わったら人も変わるのは当たり前なのに。おばあちゃん、ふるさとが懐かしくてね。
After she said that, Grandma looked depressed. But she quickly raised her face up and smiled at me. Seeing that smile made me a little nervous, but I quickly let it go and glanced at my watch. Yeah, it's okay, still okay. I'll manage somehow.
それじゃあ私、学校行くね。
あ、夏美ちゃん、まだ終わってないでしょ。
I had my hand on the sliding door ready to leave, but she suddenly caught me. Grandma gave me a sideways glance and a sticking smile.
お社にお参りは？お社にお参りしなきゃダメだよ。そうでしょ、夏美ちゃん。
Grandma was smiling, but her eyes were narrow. Grandma dragged me to the living room, in front of the shrine. Right beside me, Grandma politely clasped her hands together and offered a wholehearted prayer. I followed suit and muttered words like magic spells. Whenever Oyashiro-sama was brought up, Grandma started to act like a different person. She often gratefully told us, Oyashiro is always watching. But on the other hand, Grandma also seemed afraid of being constantly watched. Oyashiro-sama is the guardian deity of Hinamizawa, the village where Grandma was born. But I can't pray the way Grandma does. Grandma told me that Mom and Dad were reunited thanks to the blessing of Oyashiro-sama, who is also a god of marriage. But I heard from Mom that they fell in love in college. And Mom was always unhappy with Grandma's obsession with Oyashiro-sama. After all the trouble I went through to adapt to this city, I often complained to Dad that I wanted to avoid practicing smelly country customs. Smelly? When we left the old house in Okinomiya and moved here, Grandma insisted on putting a shrine in the living room. Mom was strongly opposed to it, and eventually grew into a terrible Cold War. Mom and Grandma didn't speak with one another for a week. Dad stood at the forefront of the mother-daughter war, but maintained a neutral stance. But in reality, I think he was just pretending not to see it because it was bothersome. Aside from the issue of Oyashiro-sama, the family is quite close. The time I spend praying to Oyashiro-sama with Grandma in this room with an inexplicable Shinto shrine feels bizarre and undesirable. We had physical education in the first period today, but I told everyone at the start that I had a cold, so I've just been watching the class. In reality, I'm just skipping. Since I didn't get enough sleep and skipped eating breakfast, if I tried exercising in this condition, I would keel over and get taken to the nurse's office. Then the school would call home, and I wouldn't want Mom to get angry. Plus, today was Saturday, and I had important business to take care of later, so I needed to maintain my strength.
はい、次準備はいい？
おっしゃー行くぜウォリアー
That almost sounds like Keiichi. Today's exercise was a long jump. Everyone in class was gathered around the sandbox, excitedly discussing records and other topics. I was just an observer, sitting a bit uncomfortably in the shade a short distance away, alone.
夏美、具合はどう？
Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan were concerned about me, so they came out of the class, circled to sit with me, and talk. And Chisato-chan placed her hand on my forehead while looking me in the face. She knows!
熱はないみたいだけど。
Oh wait, I thought she somehow knew about my acne problem.
喉痛い？体だるいとかは？ちょっとね。大丈夫？保健室で寝ていてもいいんだよ。平気。心配ないから。
Tamako-chan also looked at my face with a concerned expression. Both of them seemed to genuinely worry about me. That's why I couldn't tell them I just didn't get enough sleep.
それにしては元気なさそうだしさ。いっそのこと千里の病院で見てもらえば？ね、千里。そうだね。夏美なら特別にお安くしとくよ。
After she said that, Chisato-chan finally let out a laugh. Based on that alone, I couldn't tell if she was being serious, or if that was some strange sales pitch. I vote the latter. I answered no thank you. Come to think of it, when Chisato-chan first introduced herself on my first day at school, she said, if you get sick, you can always visit my psyche hospital. Like another sales pitch. Of course, the whole class is a little uncomfortable about her, but it's still a class legend. I think she's a bright, fun, lovely girl. Her taste and behavior is something too. According to the class questionnaire, she ranked number 1 for girls you want as a bad friend, and ranked on the bottom for girls you'd want as a girlfriend. Ouch. Incidentally, as for where I rank, they will carry out another questionnaire after final exams this year, so we will find out then. I'm kind of looking forward to the results, but more than that, I'm anxious about it.
まあまあ、そう言わずに、うちの病院はいいよ。ナース服は薄いピンクに短いスカート。そしてお注射ですよなんてしゃがんだ時にチラッと見えるかすかな胸元の谷間を意識した V 字ネック。
Seems like you're a fan.
そこいらの男衆なら鼻血ブーの代物だ。どうだ？見たいだろ？いいよ。ちょっと稼ぎ見ってだけだから。
Also, no matter how cute the nurses' clothes are, I'm not interested. There's no reason for that. Furthermore, V neckline cleavage? I absolutely don't want to see that. Looking at that would be depressing. Depressing?
この時間だけ休めば大丈夫だよ。病院なんて大げさだな。
もうそれならせめて健康の印として体操着を着なさい。体育委員としての命令だ。
You're a committee member of something? Now that's scary. After she delivered that ultimatum, Chisato-chan leapt into a 3.5 twist jump. Note, it is quite an image. Wow. Then she proudly pointed with her index finger. I looked up at her in awe.
千里、別に見学なんだから制服のままでもいいでしょうが。
After saying that and letting out a quick sigh, Tomoko-chan happily entered the struggle. Does she look happy to you? Still, Chisato-chan was energetic. Her eyes were blinking excessively, and she began to speak out in a hot tone.
何を言うかタマコ。いいか、よく聞け君吉夏美。前の学校はいざ知らず、この学校、そしてこのクラスでは体育の授業を受ける者は体操着を着るのが決まりなのだ。そしてそれは見学者もしかり。
そんなルール今初めて聞いたけど。
You just want to see her in gym clothes, don't you? Be honest.
そもそも体育の見学とは何か。見学とは実技授業を休むにあらず、それならサボりと同じならば違いは何か。それは授業に参加しているというただそれだけの事実だ。つまり見学者は皆の実技実演をその目にしっかと焼き付けてイメージトレーニングをしながら次の体育の授業でついてこられるように努力することが学生の本分。
Image training, huh? So that's your justification?
いや、本会なのだ。わかるかチミ。
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you would like to do a lot of image training.
いや、わかれ。わかってるよな。
つまり何が言いたいわけ？
What she's really saying is she likes looking at girls in Jim's clothing.
私は夏美のブルマー姿が見たいんだ。
There's the admission. There we go. Now you're being honest.
ブルマー万歳！ビバブルマリアン！ほう、はい！というわけなので履いてください、ブルマ。
風紀、このアホをつまみ出して。いや
ー！夏美助けて！この妖怪モテない娘が私と夏美の仲を嫉妬してるの！
Do we have a relationship, though? Because it seems rather one-sided.
誰が妖怪だ！
After she said that, Tomoko-chan struck Chisato-chan on the head, while she was still clinging to my body. I can't keep up with these two when they get like this. But if I was able to keep up with them, I feel I'd lose something important as a person. I think you would gain something, if anything. Anyway, Chisato-chan had me in a tight spot. A really tight spot. She was making my body her plaything. Hugging, rubbing her cheeks, etc. This degree of physical contact was hard to deal with. Thanks to her incredible arm strength, her grip was so tight that I couldn't move. Escape was no longer possible. Also, all the girls around could see us acting boisterously. Actually, some of the classmates have started to take the Kimiyoshi x Saki couple theory quite seriously. Ah, come on! Stop staring at us, people!
にゅにゅ夏美はちっこくて私の体にジャストフィットなのよね。このまま抱き枕にしたい。ふりゃー。佐藤ちゃん、古い。
She squeezed me even tighter. I couldn't move. Wait a minute, Chisato-chan. If you keep this up, I'll get sick for real!
おーい、
千里、夏美本気で苦しがってるよ。早く帰ってこーい。おっとっとっと、ごめんごめん。ついつい本音が出ちまったい。
With that, Chisato released my body. Then she stuck out her tongue at me. My mind was telling me that it looked really long, like a frog's tongue. But I want to dismiss that as my imagination.
でもさ、夏美、真面目に診察受けた方がいいんじゃない？夏風邪って結構タチ悪いんだよ。大丈夫だよ。そんなオーバーな。いや、オーバーじゃないよ。さっき抱きついた時、首の後ろにこれくらいのあざ見つけたしさ。もしかしたらもっと深刻な病気って可能性もあるかも。嘘。
Bruise on the back of my... You sure it's not acne? I ran my hand across my neck to verify it. But of course, it was in a blind spot that I couldn't see.
たまこちゃん、私の首の後ろどうなってるの？どれどれ？これは。それにさ、なんだか夏美の顔、朝からとっても青白いしね。これってあの病気の初期症状じゃなかったっけ？かもね。どうしたもんかな。そうなの。どうしよう。
When I noticed how seriously these two reacted, I suddenly became anxious. I haven't had much of an appetite these days, and my body has sometimes felt dull. Many thoughts ran through me. What should I do?
万が一、不治の病とかだったら、サクッと注射でも打ってきたら？ぶっといやつ。注射はちょっと、じゃなくて、かなり怖い。
The scales tiered between incurable disease and extreme injections. Both of them sounded scary. Both sounded painful. Ugh. When the two of them saw that I was suffering through the ultimate choice, they both looked at each other. Then... By the time I realized I'd been had, it was already too late. The two of them were holding their sides, laughing and giggling loudly.
引っかかった夏美ったら本気で悩んでるんだもん。もう千里ちゃんひどいよ。たまこちゃんも。
Chisato-chan pinched my cheeks with her fingertips while looking into my face. And when I covered my face with both hands, she went for my forehead.
もう、かわいいわね。夏美ってばさ。なにごめん。ちょっとからかっただけなの。どうせ夜更かしでもして寝不足ってとこなんでしょ。
Tamako-chan guessed correctly, as I'd expect from the class president.
でも、私本気で悩んじゃったんだから、そういう嘘はやめてって前にも言ったでしょ。警備を決め込む夏美が悪い。
She hit the nail on the head again.
夏美は考えてることがすぐ顔に出るからね。今日だって見学届を出すときにもろ申し訳ないって後ろめたさが全開だったしね。もっと開き直ってもいいのにさ。
So, a person whose thoughts are written all over their face and has a bad poker face. I should introduce you to this boy over in Hinamizawa I know. I'm sure you both can. I'm sure both of you can relate to each other quite a lot in regards to your absolute inability to tell a lie of any kind.
だって
Oh god, you're gonna be a KG 2.0, aren't you?
ほんと夏美ってからかいがいあるわね。よしよし、かいかい。
ちょっと
Chisato-chan hugged me from behind and pressed her cheeks against mine. If I continue receiving excessive or abnormal physical contact, maybe I'll actually start to like it. As if, because I'm normal.
もう、サトちゃん、くすぐったいってば。
照れるな照れるな、減るもんじゃないんだしさ。夏美のほっぺたってほんとぷにゅぷにゅしてて気持ちいいんだよね。
やめてって、もう。
ああ、女に生まれてよかったわ。可愛い女の子にこんな感じで触り放題だもんね。
そうね。あんたが男だったら間違いなく友達やめてるわね、私。
心配するな。無人島で二人きりになってもタマコには指一本触れないから。
Liar.
それはよかった。変な病気移されたらシャレになんないもの。
私はバイキンか。
Like usual, I bitterly smiled at their exquisite comedy. And then I heard a voice calling to Chisato-chan from far away.
千里、走り幅跳びあんたの番だよ。早く準備しな。
おっといけねえ。それじゃあ夏美、また後で。
頑張ってね。
おうよ。あ、夏美、今日はバイトの日だよね。
授業終わったらすぐ行くつもり。
なら一緒に車乗ってく？私今日は父さんとお出かけだからお迎え付きなんだ。
いいの？じゃあご一緒しようかな。
I cheerfully nodded to Chisato-chan's gracious proposal. It's not surprising. Chisato-chan's family runs a major hospital, so sometimes she rides there in a car after school. It was an elegant car with a very comfortable ride. At first I hesitated to ride together with her, but now, honestly, I felt lucky to have the opportunity.
まあ、あれでタバコの匂いがもう少し薄けりゃ最高なんだけどね。
そうなの？私全然感じないけど。それにソファーがふかふかで気持ちいいよ。
なら決まりね。はあ、密室で夏美と二人っきり。そして邪魔する者は誰もいない。
何でもいいからさっさと行け。
Pow! Tamako-chan kicked Chisato-chan in the butt. But Chisato-chan stuck out her tongue and pulled down her eyelid, and dashed away toward the athletic field. It's probably impossible for either of them to become the number one girl you'd want as a girlfriend in the next class questionnaire. Actually, the boys were uncomfortably watching the entire exchange. Sob. They probably see me the same way. But Chisato was bright and friendly like the sun. I loved it.
千里はいつも元気いっぱいだよね。見てるだけでこっちも元気になっちゃう。
そうだね。足も速いし、男子もタジタジしてるよ。
Chisato-chan was making a big fuss and involving other classmates, and Tamako-chan was watching in awe. Tamako-chan is actually somewhat introverted. She told me that when she was young, she would shut herself in at home and read books. Even so, in the beginning, I was surprised to learn that Tamako-chan, one of the brightest scholars in the school, and the naughty, vivacious Chisato-chan were best friends. Apparently, the two of them were childhood friends. Of course, they also seemed to be perfectly compatible for each other. I was envious of how well they got along.
今日はいい天気だね。足焼いちゃおうかな。
After she said that, Tamako-chan took off her socks. Then, she threw her bare white feet out into the sunshine.
あれ
I fixated on Tamako-chan's toes. She had bright red nail polish painted on her toes.
やっぱ気づいた？先生には内緒にしてね。真面目ないい子ちゃんで通ってるんだから。
Tamako laughed and giggled. Then she stretched her arm up to the sky. For me, the pedicure is a symbol of an adult woman, like you see on TV, in the unknown world of actresses and models. But even Tamako-chan, who was rarely fashionable, had a pedicure. It was mundane, nothing strange, no big deal. And yet, even for such a minor thing, I could feel the difference between us. I felt trapped by my lonely feelings, stabbing me in the chest.
あれ
Suddenly, I noticed someone wearing a school uniform in the flower bed on the other end of the field. The person was sitting there in the shade of the buckwheat, and it seemed to be drawing a picture.
どうしたの？夏美。
あそこの花壇にいるの。
ああ、アキラちゃんね。そういや、夏休みまでに提出課題があるって言ってたっけ？
Tamako-chan said that the scholarship students also had it tough, then laughed. Normally, students wouldn't be permitted to go outside and paint during class. But he was special. Akira Todo-kun. Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan told me he was talented enough to win a big competition with professional artists, and he entered the school as a scholarship student. The competition happened before I transferred here, so I don't know how much more than that. It was a big fuss around the whole school, with reporters pushing for interviews. And surprisingly, Akira-kun was also a childhood friend of Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan. So after I became friends with the two of them, they later introduced me to him. I was able to see his work with my own hands. It was all really shocking. It was impressive.
どう？夏美。なかなかのもんでしょう。
まあほんと、人間誰しも何かしらの取り柄があるってことだよね。
千里にだけは言われたくない。
いや、ちょっと褒めただけで照れるなよ。
今の褒め言葉だったの？
Chisato-chan was standing beside me, making a fuss of Akira-kun. But I couldn't take my eyes off that picture. I was drawn in from the bottom of my heart. The green of the trees had a vivacious shimmer. The many colorful flowers seemed to shine brilliantly. The sky was colored only blue and white. It was simply a painting, but it didn't just look painted. It had the breath of life and time. It had beauty and power beyond the picture.
こんな素敵な絵を私と同じ年の人が描けるなんて。
夏美？
There was no jealousy or inferiority complex in my heart. Just respect and admiration. So my eyes began to tear up, and Akira-kun's unfriendly mood changed to surprise.
そのよくわかんないけどごめん。
違うの。私絵を見てこんなに感動したの初めてだったから。私全然何も取り柄がないから偉そうなこと言えないけど、本当にこの絵とても素敵だと思う。こんなに花とか草木が綺麗だなんて私今まで思ったことがなかった。
At that moment, I saw the face Akira-kun was making.
ありがとう。
He was blushing a little red, but he was smiling happily, looking straight at me. Yeah, even now I could remember it clearly. Because at that moment, I realized I like Akira Tondo-kun. A crush. The plot thickens. Well, we're off to a relatively interesting start so far. Definitely curious to see where this new story with these new characters that are apparently completely unrelated to our main cast and their woes is going to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.